UrbanBroadcastMedia.com Chicago.
And around the world where your voice is heard. This is UBM Talk. It's Three's Company.
Rob Lee, LB Sweets.
Yo.
Tina Gray.
Yo.
And Lena Shanice.
Hey, y'all.
So okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, pleasing to everyone's ears.
LB Sweets, what we got in the Ratchet Report this week?
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
That's not okay.
Officially, the Cufino of the week.
Cause you're a creep. Hell no, you freakazoid.
Yeah,
It is Three's Company on UBM Talk and now UBM Jam.
Fridays from 6 to 8 p.m.
Only on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com.
My name is Coach Thomas. I am a fitness, health, and nutrition coach and member of the Illinois Governor's Council on Health and Physical Fitness. Make sure you check out Change for the Better with Coach Thomas Sunday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. We will discuss topics and feature guests that will give you helpful tips and advice on how to create healthier habits that will lead to a healthier lifestyle. Make sure you check out Change for the Better with Coach Thomas, where we focus on healthy kids and healthy communities.
Tune in to Change for the Better with Coach Thomas, Sundays 7 to 8 p.m. only on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com.
Hello, this is Leon Finney, your host of Another Perspective on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com. We are the voice of Black America. Join me and my guests every Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. as we discuss the issues that impact Black America. Tune in to UBM Talk on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com. The simulcast on our affiliate station WBON 1690 AM. That's Another Perspective every Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. And you can run and tell that.
The Damon Williams Show.
We went to our set up Arsenio. We were in the audience. Anytime you see a white woman with a clipboard, chances are that person's going to be on TV. They're going to put a little dab of whipped cream here and here and here. That heifer squeezed that whole damn can of whipped cream all over my face. And then after she licked it off, my little dirty old man neighbor, who never has two words to say, I look out, he's standing at his Sunday best. So you like whipped cream, huh?
The Damon Williams Show, Wednesdays, 2 to 4 p.m. on UBM Talk.
The following show is paid programming and does not necessarily express the views and opinions of Urban Broadcast Media and its subsidiaries.
Thank you for listening to UBM Talk.
Hey, and welcome to the Let's Stay Together show. I'm your host, Reverend Rick McCain, along here with my baby, my girl, my boo, author Brenda McCain. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. We're all the way live. There's no recording here, baby. We're doing this thing live. Talk to me, girl.
We're doing this so live. We're bringing out the old year into the new year.
Into the new year. Here you go. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Well, welcome to the Let's Stay Together Talk radio show, where we learn the rhythms of all relationships. And to know our glory, you have to do what?
You've got to know our backstory.
That's right. And tonight's topic is probably a lot of backstories with it. Did you spend too much money on your children for Christmas?
Yes.
Okay. Kanye West did it, and Angelina Jolie didn't do it this holiday season. And you know what I mean by that a little later on in the show. It's only natural to try and give your children what we didn't have, but somewhere down the line, we forgot to give them what we did have, like values and morals. Are we? Values and morals. Are we spending too much money on our children because we are operating out of guilt, compensating for not spending time with them, or entitlement? It's okay to want to buy things for your children, but remember to encourage them to be grateful for all the people and things they have in their lives is a must. Now, joining us tonight to discuss, did you spend too much money on your children for Christmas, is our girl, who is no stranger to the McCain train, Miss Leslie Holly. Got her drum roll. She is a licensed professional counselor. She offers couples counseling for clients facing relational problems such as communication and codependency, as well as counseling services for children and adolescents. Our newbies on the train, and hopefully never a stranger, is according to his wife, the IT geek. I didn't say it. She said it. The workforce recruiter and the 3.4 GPA student, married couple Tyren and Lisa Thomas, and their daughter Danny. We welcome you guys on the train. And if you guys want to know more about our guests, please visit our website at letsstaytogethershow.webs.com. Need to say anything before I give them the word?
No, baby, go ahead.
Okay, the scripture for the night is Proverbs 13:24. It says, he that spared his rod hated his son, but he that loved his child chasteneth his betimes. That's kind of odd, but y'all get what it's saying. Proverbs 12:1 says, whoever loveth instruction loveth knowledge, but he who hateth reproof is brutish. This is from the KJV, King James Version. We need for you guys to call in tonight, 312-754-4333.
Hey, I just wanted to, again, to let you know the call in. I'm also going to ask the people to send us information. If they want to, they can tweet us, and they can also go on Facebook and send their questions out as well. And you know, one of the things I found out here is that according to the Consumer Growth Partners, which is a Connecticut advisory firm, the United States, and they do a survey over 50 states. In 2 days, I want y'all to hear this, in 2 days, people alone for the holidays spent $42 billion. I didn't stutter. $42 billion. Now, if you think about it, that's only $8 billion less. If it had been $50 billion, that'd have been almost $1 billion per state. $42 billion. Isn't that something? $42 billion. And they were disappointed because it fell lower than the predictions that they were expecting for people to spend. So I'm going to go to Leslie and I'm going to say, Leslie, we spent $42 billion in 2 days.
Wow.
And somehow or another, the country is disappointed. Are we just spending too much money for holidays?
You know, if you have the money to spend, you know, and you've got savings and you've got money for your family when you pass away and you want to spend some money, great, go out and do it. But if you're spending your last, if you can't pay your light bill or pay your rent because you got that, you know, video game or flat screen TV, then, you know, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, but you know, I don't, you know, I understand, you know, again, most people know I'm the devil's advocate here. I understand all that. Yeah, I understand, you know, I shouldn't do all that, but I want to. It's the holidays. I got to spend this money. I got to make sure my Danny's got everything that she wants, you know. I mean, she's got the smile. She's a good student. She's doing well. I don't really have the money, but because she's doing so well, I'm going to break the bank and spend it on her anyway. Does that make sense?
No. I'm sorry, Leslie.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would ask, what are we teaching Danny, right? What are we teaching Danny that, you know, if we don't have the means that we're willing to spend anyway, so then when Danny grows up and she really wants something and she can't afford it, what do we think she's going to do? She's only going to relive the patterns and model the same behaviors that mom and dad do.
Yeah, but you know, the United States wants that pattern, though, Leslie. They want us to spend. They're not necessarily concerned about the fact that you cannot afford it. That's why you got all those cash loan places out there with the little rat on the television, you know, running around telling you to spend your money, speedy loan, this and this loan and that. They want you to spend that extra money and go into debt. I mean, I'm going a little bit ahead of ourselves, but is that what helps the economy to grow, or is it hurting us?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not an economist. I'm a psychotherapist. So to answer that question, I you know, from my profession and from my lens, I would say we need to look at what's best for us for our families. What are we teaching our children about our relationship with money and our spending patterns, so that what are they learning and what are they taking with them? And I think that there's some negative patterns out there.
That's what I love about my Leslie. She's gonna let you know. I'm not an economist.
So you ain't coming after me.
You know, don't take this as expertise knowledge. But you know, I just believe in myself, and I'm gonna let my baby go on this. I just believe that myself is that we're killing the economy in some ways by constantly telling people to spend on something they don't have. And we need to start looking back. And I think it's almost every individual needs to possibly look back and say to themselves, am I spending too much for one specific reason? Because holidays are great, but you're going to have to go the day after the holiday and the week after the holiday and the month after the holiday. So we need to be careful about that. Baby, go ahead with your question you got.
I just want to make a notation that example we just used with Danny, by no means we're saying her parents did this
she's spoiled.
or not.
She's spoiled. We know she's spoiled.
But I'm just saying she was on the good end of everything. But the question wise to reward children with expensive gifts and toys when their behavior is undeserving? Okay, Lisa, you shaking your head. So let me know what's your thoughts about that.
Well, I don't particularly agree with rewarding a child if their behavior is not up to par. Danny will be the first one to tell you that I'm real good at if you act or behave a certain way that's out of line with how we're raising her and how we feel that she should behave, then I'm quick to say, okay, well, you're not getting this, or you can kiss this goodbye, or you're grounded, and of course I'll get, the eye roll and everything. But I'm comfortable with that because I want to set an example to let her know that you're expected to behave and act in a certain manner that is acceptable and respectable. And if you're not down with that, then in that case, then you have to, deal with the ramifications of your actions.
So, Lisa, you're telling me that if Danny was bad and she just was just a bad student, just didn't do anything right, you wouldn't get her anything for Christmas?
I would get her something for Christmas, but it wouldn't be over the top. Mm-hmm. We keep everything in moderation, and of course, when you talk to my husband, he's Mr. Spreadsheet guy. I have to put everything down in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's all right. But it talks about that a little bit, and we're going to get into it later about budgeting for things like that. But, what brought up a story to me is that I had a friend of mine, his name was Michael, and we was, we was like teenagers at the time. And his mama told him she wasn't going to get him anything because he was, he was bad. He didn't do anything right. That boy, 2 months later, was still looking for Christmas present. He didn't get a thing. Now, that can be very hurtful, but Leslie, I'm going to go back to you for a second. Does it set a tone to let the child know that don't just automatically expect that you're going to get something just because of Christmas?
Yeah, I think that everyone has to do what's comfortable in their home when it comes to that, but it's definitely important for parents to have negative consequences for negative behaviors and to stick to that consistently.
Go ahead, baby.
Interesting, though, because
you know what? We didn't give Tyren a chance to answer that question.
I'm about to give him a new question.
No, but I want him to answer that question too, man. Answer that about the what was the question again? That first question.
Is it wise to reward children with expensive gifts and toys when their behavior is undeserving?
Any gift, I'd say they shouldn't get nothing. But go ahead.
I'm going to go in the middle of the road here because I believe that, like my wife said, things should be done in moderation. If a student is a very good student with very bad behavior, then they should be rewarded accordingly. There might be a fairly expensive gift that's somewhere in the middle that they can be rewarded with, and maybe one or two smaller gifts that they actually wanted. But if the student is student is really bad, but overall, they respect you as parents and individuals in general, maybe they can be rewarded with some of the less expensive gifts, but something significant. At least they don't have that painful impression that, they're never going to get anything and that there won't be a chance.
Okay, but let's be real here now, y'all. That child may not be happy that you got them just a gift. They didn't want that gift. They wanted that iPhone 6, and you just got them some kind of a jewelry or something, and they didn't want that. And so now to the child, you still didn't get them what they want. So even the gift that they got, they're not excited about it. They're not happy with it. What would you do then?
Well, the good thing about that is they will still understand that there is a consequence with their actions. So, they're getting something, it may not be necessarily what they wanted, but, at least there's a balance that they've, and a lesson that they've learned from that balance that you've kind of exercised as a parent.
It's interesting because I'm just old school, because of the generation gap right now, what's going on, I couldn't dare just sit there. I could be internally like, dang, my mom didn't get me this when I was growing up. But we were so grateful to have stuff, anything they gave us. And, it was warranted with us that good behavior produced good things for you. But now these kids feel like they're entitled to everything. And it drives me up the wall that some parents accommodate that behavior. And it's ridiculous. So this goes into me. That's Brenda's view. This goes into that second question. Do you feel that the reason why most parents give their children a lot is because they are making up for what they didn't have growing up? I don't believe in that, but you guys?
Go ahead, Tyren.
I think to some degree there's that group of parents that feel that way. But just from, my generation, I feel that